This is differentiation revision for higher maths prelim or for your final exam. What we're looking at here is we're going to go for question 6. So this is the fourth video. We've got 8 questions to do. Here we're going to do question 6. Right, so a function f is given by f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 2x cubed. Determine the interval on which f is increasing. So you can freeze the video and try the question and I'll show you the solution. We're just going to get started on this one now. So when I see a question like this here, we've got a function. We're going to determine when it's increasing or decreasing. The other thing that we might be asked for on this type of question is what are the stationary points. So I'm going to be looking to differentiate this curve that's here. I'm then going to try and do a nature table to find out whereabouts in the nature table or on the curve is there a positive gradient, so where the curve is increasing. If I was asked for where it's decreasing, I'd be looking for negative gradients and I would be working that out. Right, so let's go ahead and work this one out. So we're going to start with the curve. So what we've got is f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 2x cubed, right? Right then, so let's get this differentiated right away. Okay, so we'll go for f dash x. It's in a form that we can differentiate it. So it's going to be 6x and we've got minus 6x squared. Okay. From there, I want to know my stationary points. So if I work out my stationary points, I can then work out on my nature table whether the curve is increasing or decreasing in between these points and beyond these points. Right, so for stationary points, for SPs, I'll say that f dashed x, or basically the gradient, is equal to 0. Okay, or dy by dx is equal to 0 if you've got a y. Right, so this side of the equation here I'm going to set as 0. I'm going to take a common factor out of here. So the common factor I can see I've got 6x there, I've got 6x squared there, so I'm going to take out 6x outside the bracket. So that's going to be 1 there, minus, and what I'll get is just an x going there. And I can just check that I can multiply that out to get back to there. Yes, I can, so that's me done that correctly. Right, from there, what I can do is I can see that from there, I've got 6x equals 0, so x is equal to 0. From here, what I've got is I've got 1 minus x equals 0, so I've got 1 equals x, or x equals 1. Okay, so there's my two values there that I'm going to use. First of all, I don't really need to work out the y coordinates at all. All I need to do is to work out my nature table, and that will tell me where the curve is increasing or where it's decreasing. Okay, right, so what I'll do is I'll set up a nature table. There we go. And the points I'm going to put in for x are going to be 0, so I'll put that along here, and I'll put the 1 along here a bit further, okay? I'll just extend that table a wee bit more. So what I'm interested in is finding what the curve is like as it approaches 0. When it goes from 0 to 1, I want to know what that is there, whether it's increasing or decreasing. And once it goes beyond 1, I want to know if it's increasing or decreasing as well. Right, and the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to be working with the gradient. So in this case it's f dashed x. And the equation that I'm going to use is I can use either that one or I can use that one there. So what I'll do is I'll use the 6x 1 minus x because I find it quite easy to use that. Right, so I know that the gradient when x is 0 is equal to 0 because I already started with that, so I know that that's going to be 0 here. Where it's 1, it's going to be 0 as well, and what I want to know is what's it like in between these points. So a point to the left here could be minus 1 if I chose that as an x coordinate. In between 0 and 1, let's just go for the midpoint, and that'll be a half. And beyond 1, let's just use 2. Okay. Right, so what I'm trying to find out is what is the gradient when x equals minus 1? And I'm substituting minus 1 into this equation here. So minus 1 going in where x is here. So that would be, let me just try and write that up for you. So that would be 6 times minus 1. And what we've got is 1 minus 1. So that's going to give me minus 6 times 2, so that'll give me minus 12. And the main thing is I'm looking for, is it a negative or a positive? That's the main thing I'm after here. For a half, so what I'll do is I'll substitute a half in. So it'll be 6 times a half, and it's 1 minus a half. Okay. So I know that 6 times a half is a positive, 1 minus a half is a positive, so a positive times a positive is going to give me a positive here, so that'll be a positive answer I get. But let's work it out anyway. So inside that bracket it's going to be a half, that's going to be 3, so 3 times a half is just 3 over 2, or 3 halves. It's positive. 2 is going to be substituted in next, so I've got 6 times 2, and that's going to be multiplied by 1 minus 2. So what I can see here is I've got 12 there, so 12 times the minus 1 is going to give me minus 12 again. And really what I'm after, is it negative, positive, or is it negative? What's the curve like? From there I can then determine what the shape of the curve is. So the shape of the curve, I'm seeing it's going to be negative there, flat, then positive. So from there it's going to be negative, so sloping down the way. It's going to be flat when I get to a stationary point. It's positive there, so it's going up the way. It's flat, and then it's negative again when I get to there. So that's the shape of the curve that I'm working with. So this point here is a minimum, okay, and that's at x is equal to 0. So that's my x equals 0. That's that one there. And this point here is a maximum, okay, it's turning as a maximum turning point at x is equal to 1. So really what I was interested in from the question is determine the interval on which f is increasing. So the only part that I can see that it's increasing is between 0 and 1. So what I'll do is I'll just say that f is increasing, and it's between 0 and 1. So what I'll do is I'll just say it's between 0 and 1, x is in the middle, and it's going to be an inequality statement like that there. And there's my final answer. So that's question 6, and that's determine the interval on which f is increasing. But you have to look at the question, you have to then realise it's a differentiation question, differentiate, nature table, and then from there what we're doing is we're picking out the points where it's increasing, or if you were asked for decreasing you'd be doing that. Okay, good luck with this type of question. I'll move on to question 7 just shortly.